Good on.
Uh,
What's up, guys?
Hey, how you doing, everybody? Good evening, and welcome to the Tuason Racing podcast. This is our first podcast, and the question tonight is Esports, the future of motorsports. So my name is JP Tuason. I'm the CEO of Tuason Racing, and our company's purpose is to make people's dreams come true through motorsports. Now, we do that through touring cars, motorcycles, single-seaters, and now esports. So guesting tonight is no other than Elysse Menorca. She's a pro sim racer, a finalist for GT Academy, a Vios Cup race car driver, and now an endorser and model of SRPH. How you doing?
Hi, everybody. Good evening. Thanks for having me here.
Good
Okay,
evening.
we've also got Aquino. He's a kart racer, a sim racer, and a hardware developer for sim rigs. And he
What's-
represents Seven Garage. How you doing,
What's
Oye?
up, guys? How you guys doing?
Yeah, I can hear you, bro.
That's good.
It's good. That's good. We've had some technical problems, but it's all good now. And of course, we also have Mark Elman. Mark is a sim racer and represents GTPH, an online racing community. Mark, how you doing? And he's coming
Hello.
all the way from Singapore. There you go. Yeah,
Yeah,
we've got an
yeah.
import.
Good evening, guys.
Good evening. All right, so let's get right into it. And I guess one of the biggest questions that we get all the time at the race school is, how do you get started, right? And Elysse is a fantastic role model for those people that want to get involved in sim racing. She is the epitome of what anybody wants to become, right? If you are a sim racer, she's gone from not doing any racing to doing sim racing, becoming successful, winning there, moving on to cars, winning in cars, and has now transitioned to becoming an endorser / celebrity. So, Elysse, tell us how that has gone for you.
Okay, that celebrity part. Okay, anyway, yeah, so I started in sim racing. It's not a common story for racers, other racers that I've met. But the thing is, I've joined this competition, GD Academy. So it's basically they got a bunch of sim racers that were fast and in the country. So a lot of us tried out, and through that, I did training through Gran Turismo. Like I spent a lot of time getting used to it, learning the basics of racing and everything, experimenting stuff. It's all there. Although it's not, you don't get the feel of the G-force, but still you will learn a lot. So now after that, I was able to represent the Philippines in the UK as one of the top 6. And then when I got back here, I decided to continue racing in real life. So after that, I didn't stop. I just continued racing like in the Vios Cup and other events here in the Philippines. So yeah, that's my background.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
I guess the question is, how long did it take you to go from not having any experience at all, training in the sim racing, and becoming a champion in sim racing?
Well, before the GD Academy, I actually didn't know anything about racing. I mean, I do watch sometimes, but I wasn't really a fan. And then I went, ever since that competition, I decided to like push myself really hard, maybe a few, 3 months or more before the
Okay.
national finals here. So I trained so hard, like almost every day I played the sim. So I had to catch up with the other guys because other guys were so good. They're really, really good and very well experienced. So I wouldn't want to be left behind, right? So, well, it paid off eventually. And I didn't have a racing seat back then. I did have a wheel and a PlayStation. So it helped a lot. And that's all I had. I mean, and then, well, luckily they had live events. So I didn't have to focus much at home. I just had to like spend a lot of time playing the game again and again.
Okay.
So yeah, it.
But only 3 months. That's fantastic. People have been playing for years,
but-
right? And they still don't win.
Well, you can say that, but I really worked so much. I mean, I had friends who helped me. The good thing about it, the people in sim racing, I've met a lot because of that competition, and thankfully they were friendly. And having connections and friends like that, they help you in becoming better. So I mean, I think I was being nice to everybody. I never had made enemies so far.
Yeah.
So I made use of that. I mean,
Yeah.
not being a user friendly, but you know, you learn from other people, you learn from your own mistakes and everything, and you just gotta keep doing it. It's not that easy, but it's good. I got lucky, I guess.
Well, that's two really good takeaways from what you just said. Number one, be friendly in your sport, in your community, and people want to
Sure.
help you, right? And of course, put in the work, do a lot of practice, and when the time comes, you should do well, like you did. 3 months and into the national finals, and as a finalist representing the Philippines, amazing.
Yes.
So, ladies and gentlemen,
you. Thank
guys,
you.
you better get a autograph from Elysse before she becomes too
Oh, man.
hard to get. Okay, so if you see her on TV or in the
US
ads,
Cup.
there you go. All right, so up next we've got Aquino. Oy is a kart racer. There we go.
Hey,
So you want
guys.
to talk to us about your racing history?
Yeah, so sometime around 2004, that's when I started my racing officially in the Philippines. This picture right over here that I have is in 2008. The Florida Winter Tour is pretty much the peak of my karting.
Wow, that's a big
venture.
grid, huh?
That was
that's
a
crazy.
big grid.
Yeah.
42
Wow.
people.
Wow.
I
Wow.
am the
That's a
fastest
lot.
lap of this race.
Wow, awesome.
Proudest moments. Yeah.
Great
I that was a hell of an experience. I had a pretty okay career. I'm pretty satisfied where
So
I
how many
was.
years did you do competitive karting?
I would say four.
Okay, so you did 4 years of Philippines and international.
Yeah.
That's pretty good as well.
Five.
It 5 years. It usually takes people a lot more time to get out of the country, but that's really good. But I think you've got more of a story to tell because from becoming a professional kart driver, you moved on to training others, right? So,
I did. So throughout that, from 2006 to about 2011, I was training Alessandro Madrigal. And Alessandro Madrigal was a U.S. national finalist in 2009 for
Wow.
the Rotax Max final. We used to do 5 days a week, 5 hours, 100 laps minimum.
Wow.
100 laps minimum.
tiring.
Yeah.
I
So-
guess you're really fit.
That's a
that
good
time?
life, man.
At the time?
5
the
days a week
time,
at the track, man.
I
Can't
lived
beat
there.
that, right?
I lived there. I literally lived there. I was fortunate enough to be coached by Terry Fullerton. And one of the things that he really mentioned to me was if you practice the wrong thing 1,000 times over, you're just practicing the wrong 1,000 times over.
Right.
So there's no point.
I totally agree with that. So for those of you guys that don't know who Terry Fullerton is, he's actually a go-kart world champion, and he also produced kart equipment, including the chassis for the karts, right?
You guys ever watch that part in
one?
Senna's video? At the
Oh yeah,
end?
that's right. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
right.
right. That's right.
That's
Yeah,
what he
yeah,
said.
yeah.
Senna's
That's
like,
right.
who is your greatest rival? Terry Fullerton.
That's right.
Ah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And for a time, he was actually based in the Philippines, right? He was here
Yes.
quite a bit. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
He took care of many cars here.
So let's move on, Oyi. And I think the next thing we want to quickly discuss is you're also involved in producing hardware for sim rigs, right? So you want to walk us through that?
I'm going to show you this next picture right over here.
Look at that.
This.
Wow, looks
This is
complicated.
this
Boom.
is now this is 2020, but this started from 2007, and then bits and pieces
Look at that.
just started evolving through it. So from
It looks like it's gonna like transport you through time.
yeah.
Somehow.
Eventually, I got into streaming as well, and I started studying streaming and all these things. And this is what it ended up with. I realized I needed this screen for this, I needed this screen for that, and then how to work the hardware, modifying the pedals to make it feel better for the general consumer, actually. And now I ended up with this product, that 7 Star Garage's Sim 01.
Okay.
That is my baby.
Nice. So you actually produce that and you sell it, right?
Yes, I do.
Okay,
I
great.
do.
So maybe you can give our audience a ballpark figure. What would something like that cost?
If you're talking about just the sim frame itself, I'm gonna start it off at just an introductory price of 30K.
Okay.
It's gonna be for a few people, for the few maybe first 10. This is Sim 001.
So we're TRS is raising our hand. We want one. Yeah.
All right.
That's pretty rock star. I like that.
If you wanna choose I put a plate number in the back of that seat. So I'm gonna put my cursor right there. Right there. I put a plate number right there. Tell me what you want to put there. And I'm gonna have it engraved right there.
Personalized.
Nice.
Personalized. Yeah.
All right. Cool. All right, excellent. So for those of you guys that are interested, please leave a message for Oyi for any inquiries on sim rigs. Okay, so we'll move on to Mark. Mark is a sim racer and he represents GTPH. So Mark, talk to us about this photo.
Oh, for this photo is a December photo, but the competition was last September. So this competition is before the F1 Singapore Grand Prix itself. So there is a competition that you have to win the headphone and the subwoofer, the soundbar. But this is the second time that they are doing it, and luckily, part of the top 30 that I won with the cap.
Awesome.
So yeah, so the previous year was like the one that I'm using now, and in the headphone that is in the photo is the one I won in 2018.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool. So so you are considered a pro racer then, I guess, because you're always winning.
To be fair, yeah. I do win some prizes as well.
Don't be so humble, man. You have the photo. You can prove it.
I know, yeah. But there are people who is faster than you, so you try to make it try to make it faster.
Okay. Because we're on that topic now, it's a bit of a question mark at the moment. In the Philippines, right, we don't really have a specific way to identify what is a pro esports driver, right? Unlike, let's say, for example, if you wanted to race real cars, the AAP would rank you based on not only your experience, but also the amount of wins you've had. So if, for example, you are a championship winner in a class for the Vios Cup, you have to move up to the next class, right?
Yes.
Etc. So for esports, how do we classify a pro winner, guys? I mean, what are your thoughts on this?
For me, when you are always winning events, for example, those are official events, there's a prize over there, you may consider as a pro.
Okay. So you have to be winning,
faster.
Right?
Yeah, you have to be winning. Or a podium itself, as I guess also.
Okay. So podium or a win. Okay, how about you, Oyi? What do you think?
Well, I just thought about something. Is there an age to being a professional? Just thinking about it.
Yeah.
So, some kids are really good. You know,
yeah.
I mean, it's the age of esports.
Yeah.
These kids' reaction times and their understanding of gaming is
crazy.
I can't.
Yeah.
I'm trying my best, but I can't. I can't beat an ego.
In actual motorsport, right? In actual real racing, I think the minimum age now is 15 going to 16, right? You have to be turning 16 to be able to participate in motorsports that have real race cars. If we go backwards into go-karts, I think the minimum age for karting is 7, if I'm not mistaken. So 7 for go-karts and about 15, 16 for real cars. But for esports, I don't know. I've never heard of a real sort of age for that. Do you guys know of any?
Because like in other sports, I think what they call a professional. Normally a professional is being paid, right? But like, I don't think that's always the case.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah. So here, like what how we rank our racers in real life, I think it's the same, at least for me and my fellow friends who are sim racers. When a person we call a pro is someone who constantly play the game or join competitions, and then especially if they keep winning a lot, maybe not all, but like a lot.
So I guess somebody that uses esports as a means for earning money, right? If they're using it to join the competitions, they want to win because they use that as a revenue stream for themselves, or maybe they're how about representing the country? If you represent the country, then I guess you should be considered a pro, right?
Yeah.
Something like the GT Academy.
Yeah, sure. I think I definitely think in terms of the games that we're organizing, because it is GT sport. If you are one of the finalists from the GT Academy, you should be a pro because you've already won it, right?
That flew out.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
right.
Yeah. But
Okay.
the ones that didn't make it, the ones that didn't fly out, the ones that just barely made the mark. They can practice as much as they want, but if their talent can only bring them to a certain level, or they don't practice as much as other people do, I consider them a forever amateur.
Well, I think what we have to keep in mind is the game at the end of the day is really, it's a game to be played, right? So of course we want people to win. It's a competition, right? But at the end of the day, people have to keep in mind that it's a game that you have to play, and you play it well, and you have to be a good sport whether you win or you lose, right?
That's true.
That's very, very
important.
Right?
It's important.
And as you said earlier, Elysse, if you are friendly in that community, then people will also be happy for you if you win, right? That makes it a beautiful community to be in.
You all support each other, which is great.
Right.
I mean, it helps everybody to grow. So
Yeah. And I think we've been able to do that in the Vios Cup. You know how the Vios Cup is, everybody's friendly, they're hanging out, they're partying out. And I hope we can do.
That is one of the coolest parties that I've been to.
Right? So hopefully,
I love the parties.
hopefully, with the help of you guys and the other members, we can build a community like that in the esports group.
Yeah.
Okay, so just to wrap it up with Mark. Mark, why did you choose GT Sport as your game of choice?
Well, it's the easy access for console, which I also own a console. And from previous years, I still play Gran Turismo, even in the Gran Turismo 1, Gran Turismo 2. So the brand itself is already a marketable product.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
would you say it's one of the easier games to play as well for a beginner?
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
You will learn a lot, especially basics.
Well, it's not an easy game, right? But it's an easy game to start with.
Yes.
Is that right? Yeah. Okay.
Yes. It's not an easy game. However, you can also still learn a lot. Even the licenses, you try to achieve those bronze, silver. I try to tell them, do the gold.
Okay.
Do the gold.
Achievement. Yeah, do the gold. That's your achievement for that license.
Right. Okay, great. And can you quickly tell us about GTPH? What do you guys do as a org? The games that you guys run, and how to join?
Okay. Gran Turismo Philippines started in 2014.
Okay.
But it is a group of people. I'm one of the admin of the group. But we go back in time, like 2010 GT5. GT5 was the first for the PS3 console, and this was being put up by Sim Racing Philippines when it was still in a forum type of conversation, discussions, and everything. So by the time that the Facebook evolved, the technology evolves, they put up the group page of the Facebook. It's easier to conduct the group. So some of the people I met online, they had already a group for Gran Turismo 6. Is this only for Gran Turismo 6? Then after a year, we come up to be an official Gran Turismo Philippines. And for this onwards, way back from 2010 until today, we try to establish one league per quarter per year.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Well, that's great, and I hope that through this interview and through the games that we're running, we can get more people interested in the GT sport game. And if they are interested, guys, check out GT Philippines on Facebook.
Gran Turismo Philippines.
And join their games as well.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move on. I have a quick shout out. Today there was a race organized by Alex Yung, the former Formula One driver. He's based out of Malaysia. He ran the ERGP games. And I want to shout out to all the Filipino drivers out there. Hope you guys have had a great race. And for those of you guys that want to watch the replay, I think you guys will see it on Time Attack Manila. Is that right, Oi?
That's right. Yeah, it's all there. All the
Very
information for ERGP is all there.
Very, very cool. Okay. All right. So we've got some questions from our Facebook and from our Instagram. So let's take a look at our first question. Okay. So Rizal Garcia asked. Yeah. So she's got a good question. How do you start a racing career? So maybe we can ask Elysse.
Well, if you want to do what I did, I just started with a game. I just needed a PlayStation, a TV, and then it's good to have a wheel as a simulator or in the racing seat. So, but I started without it. So I guess you can start. I mean, you start with that. The gear, the setup was like around 50 or less, 50,000 maybe.
Okay.
But then after that, that's gonna last for a long time. So it's worth the investment.
Okay, so in regular racing, most people would start in go-karts, right?
Yeah,
and then we would graduate people to touring cars and then single-seaters. But the beauty of what's happening now is a lot of racers can actually start in esports, and a lot of the basics can be learned there, so that when you end up actually driving a real car, you've picked up a lot of the skills that are needed already. Right. Save time, save money.
Yeah. The physics is the same. So from the game, you learn how the car reacts to the way you drive. So different cars are a bunch of cars you can unlock in the game. So that is good practice. I'm sure Mark knows this.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I just want to add something. I'm in Carmona. I have 2 garages, and in one of the garages is a sim. So that's sitting there. I am now integrating in karting, and so that hey, we're in a break. You want to go try something, so I can explain a certain corner to you. I'm going to find a similar corner in the game, and then see if you can apply it on real life, like real time. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure out.
Right. Yeah. Okay, cool. Great. So let's move on to our next question. Okay, and this is from Facebook. Okay, so KP Raz, where to download the sim? Okay, guys, so you want to explain this? I guess it's about the game, right? It's about the game. Where do you get the game?
Okay, for the console, PlayStation, you just need to buy the game Gran Turismo Sport, Assetto Corsa, Project Cars. That's it.
Okay.
And updates will be online as well. But you need to have a subscription.
Okay, but now that we're in lockdown, can you actually download the game? If you've got a PS4 at home, can you download it online so that you don't have to actually physically go out and buy it?
Yes.
So it's possible, right? Okay.
Possible.
Great.
As long as you have an available internet connection and the subscription, that's it. Yeah.
So what about PC-based games? Someone want to answer?
Okay. So there are 3 main PC games. Assetto Corsa is also there. We have iRacing.
Okay.
Race Room.
Yeah.
R Factor.
Yeah.
And yes, Assetto Corsa Competizione. Project Cars as well.
Yeah.
I keep forgetting about that because it's an inter-platform thingy. Yeah.
Okay.
And those 5. Yes, JP, you were saying?
I was going to ask which one is the best to start with.
Ooh.
Well,
to me, it's R Factor.
To me, it's iRacing.
In terms of PC, I'm not sure.
But
in terms of all of them,
in terms of free,
it's Race Room.
Race Room.
Free.
Okay.
Race Room is free.
Race Rooms tracks are free. There's a starter pack.
Okay, but if you were to choose between not only PC but also console, what would be the best place to start?
Well,
with all the stuff that I know,
I still go with the console because that is the accessible uh, device that you can buy outside.
Yeah.
I mean, the PC, yes, you can build it, install, that's it as well. But for example, you have a keyboard or you have a controller, you just install the game, that's it.
I know,
Okay.
right? I can totally relate. Not only in racing games, but in other games. Like when I choose console or PC, I choose a console game because I just get a PS4, plug the
That's
CD in, and that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the PC you have to get this and that. You have to do all sorts of stuff, which makes me crazy.
What
Yeah.
I remember from before is a lot of people were
That's it.
having compatibility problems with the PC games because sometimes the newer games require much better hardware, right? So
Yeah.
so I
I'm
think
not hating on PC games, by the way.
no, neither am I. But I think we can all agree that PC games are great, but it's better for people that are more hardcore into it, people that
Sure,
have already sort of cut their teeth, right? So
I'm gonna throw one out there.
go.
So, R Factor 1, SRPH Sunday Nights.
Yeah.
This is the one. This game is from 2005, and
Yeah.
this is our local series that anyone can join from a laptop from 2012.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so this is the one. This is the one where I don't have anything. All I have is my laptop. All I have is my PC. Yeah. Some of the guys there, keyboard.
Yes.
Yeah.
Full on keyboard. Elysse, you want
Yeah.
to talk about that a bit?
Actually, someone did a competition on that. He joined. He also used the keyboard.
That's tough, man. I think that's tough.
Speaking of equipment, actually in our event, JP, the race for frontliners, one of them, well, I know one of them is he just used a controller and he won actually.
No.
So it's possible. Yeah.
It's possible.
Yeah, he was third place. He was third place. That was the race against Jeff De Vera. Yeah, that race.
Nice.
Okay.
Some of the.
It works.
So wait a minute before we leave this question, right? I think one of the important things to touch base on is to get going. What exactly do you just need? So we mentioned a while ago you need to have a steering wheel, right? Or else it's kind of weird.
It's just better.
It's better.
But it doesn't proper equipment.
It doesn't make you faster, right?
Not necessarily.
More seat time.
Okay. It doesn't necessarily make you faster. It just feels better, right?
It
gives you a better feel.
A better translation to real.
Because for me, I also came from a controller DS3 that in PS3. Then I bought a second-hand G25. So the transition would take some time for you to be comfortable with the steering wheel.
Okay, right.
Yeah, this basing from controller to steering wheel.
Okay, so to get going, you need to have a PS3 or PS4. You need to have a steering wheel. What else do you need to have? Oy, our hardware specialist.
Well, if that's the case, if you have a nice rig,
yeah.
So now you don't have to. You saw my rig. They're not. Yeah. You don't need one of those to start off with. You can just put the wheel on a table.
Okay.
And it's supposed to be mounted on a table.
Yeah.
But if you want us to have something to start with and dedicated, you can also get yourself a wheel stand.
Okay.
Correct.
And this wheel stand will put your pedals on the proper position and your wheel in the proper position, and you can somehow find a good way to position yourself in a nice driving ergonomics position.
Okay.
Ergonomics, yeah, proper ergonomics.
And that's basically where your 50K goes, right? That's the cost for your 50K, and off you go. Okay, all right, great.
Everything.
So next question, our final question of the night. Okay, so this is from our Instagram, I think, and it is from Wax Daddy Detailing. Wax Daddy. How to drive front wheel drive, rear wheel drive, and all wheel drive or 4-wheel drive around the track for beginners. Let's have the pros and cons. Okay, so what I wanted to just do is talk about driving on the track, the real track. So when you drive a front wheel drive, basically the front wheels are spinning, pulling the car forward, and the feeling of driving a front wheel drive car around the track is it's not hard to drive the cars slow.
It's not as scary.
Yeah, but it's hard to get a good lap time out of front wheel drive cars. And why is this? It's because as you come into the corners very quickly, because the front wheels are not only pulling you forward, but they're turning you. You tend to get a lot of what they call understeer, right? So you're turning into the corner and the car is not turning. Now, in comparison with rear wheel drive, these are fantastic cars to drive. They are super fun. They're super difficult. They are always trying to kill you because they're always going sideways and
sometimes
oversteer. Unexpected.
Yeah.
But they're the most fun. And if they are driven the right way, they can be very, very fast, right? And finally, we've got all-wheel drive or four-wheel drive. And it's somewhere in the middle, but leaning more towards front-wheel drive where you get quite a bit of understeer as well. Now, having said that, going into the virtual world, why don't you guys tell me how does it feel in the virtual world to drive one of these cars? Maybe you can give an example and then something you've driven in the real world.
Well, okay, let me say something about that. Since in the game, I actually tried to experiment, trying different cars, different kind of setup and stuff. So I've driven four-wheel drive, front-wheel drive, etc. But the thing is, I mean, in a way, you have to predict it in the game in a way that you have to understand how the physics work because you don't get that butt feel like in real life. So
the sensitive butt feel. Right? Yeah.
So I can't rely on that, and I have to like think in a advanced thinking, I guess. You just have to predict like, okay, if I do this, the car is gonna be like this. So I'm not very good at explaining the physics and all that. I've been training for a few years now, and all my coaches would try to explain that to me, but I wouldn't want to mess it up.
I totally get that because if you ask me to drive a sim, I find it very difficult because I don't have that same feel, right?
Yeah.
I totally understand. How about you, Ai?
Field of view and butt feel for sure. Even pedal feel is so different between real and sim, right? But one of the things I do see is the exaggerated points of front wheel drive and rear wheel drive. You will feel understeer going into a corner with a front wheel drive car, and you will feel oversteer with a rear wheel drive car.
This is in the sim world, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
So in both aspects, in the real and the sim is teaching you how it's telling you how to do it. It's telling you how to do it somehow, some way. Once you adapt to the sim.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Mark, you want to add anything to that?
Like Oye said, the aspect of that the theory itself is the same as in a sim racing and in the real life. The problem is only the feeling itself, like you all said. Front wheel drive, yes, it will also understeer in the sim racing, as well as tire degradation, all those things. Rear wheel drive, I haven't tried it in real life. I only own a Toyota Corolla, so only front wheel drive. I did it on Time Attack on Clark one time 2 years ago.
Okay.
You know, the most interesting car to drive is a rear wheel drive and a rear engine car. You know, like
the Porsche.
Yeah. What is your favorite? What is your favorite car to drive in the sim?
Well, I don't have a favorite, but like
what?
I keep switching. A favorite? Yeah. It depends.
You're not.
It depends on the competition.
well,
okay. I just don't drive all-wheel drive. Yeah, except that.
Okay.
I switch from front wheel and rear wheel drive.
Okay.
So I know it's hard to talk about favorites. Come on, guys.
So after this, I'm gonna ask you guys about the all-wheel drive aspect. But for me, there's the unicorn is really the Porsche. It's Gone in 60 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah, the unicorn, the GT500. Can't drive it. I can't drive a Porsche to my life. I can't.
Eleanor.
Yeah, Eleanor. Porsches are my Eleanor. They are the hardest things for me to drive. What is it with that car, JP?
I think JP knows how it feels.
Yeah. Like I said, in 2012, before I retired from racing, I did 2 races in Europe with the Porsche GT3, a 997, and we did the Porsche Cup. So I got to drive that at the Nürburgring Formula One track, and it's an amazing car. I get to drive it at Spa as well, and when it's not trying to kill you, it's an amazing car to drive. And one of these days, I'm going to get myself one of those cars. Okay, guys, thanks. And what we want to do now is quickly do some reminders and shout outs. So number 1, guys, don't forget, we'll see you on April 29 for our second race for frontliners. Thank you to our sponsors, Phoenix, Family Mart, LG, OLED TVs, and PC Express. Now, on that evening, we're going to be using the Civic Type R, and it's going to be at the Brands Hatch Short Racetrack. So, guys, start practicing. We're using very, very simple tracks. Everybody has the same car. Para pagalingan lang talaga ng drivers. There's no excuses. Yeah, there's no excuses, right?
That's the FK2, right?
That's right.
Registration is still open, right?
It is, but we've got we're actually pretty full right now. We're close to 80 drivers already.
Okay.
But yeah, you can still register, but we're pretty close to being full. On that evening as well, we're gonna have a pro race because we've been having these questions about pros. So we'll have some pros show us how to do it, right? And we'll see who really is the best pro because, with these other races, they use different cars and they use complicated racetracks. So there's so many things that can go wrong. This time, we're going to use exactly the same car at a very, very simple racetrack. So let's see who it's really going to be. Okay. And the winner for that evening is going to walk away with a 32-inch LG TV as a prize. It'll be awesome. There will be blood. There'll be blood. There's gonna be like scratching.
Hey, someone send me a PlayStation.
There's gonna be some hair pulling, right? Okay, so
I think Oye needs a PlayStation now.
I want to play.
Deliver whoever wants to deliver PlayStation for him. Go quickly.
We don't recommend any we don't endorse any fighting. But it should be a great race. So the pro race will be the last race of the evening. Yes. And then for the non-pros, it'll be the second qualifying races. So the winners for those races will qualify to participate in the final later in the year. And finally, I want to thank everybody for coming to tonight's podcast. This is our first podcast ever. And we're going to be doing this every Wednesday night and Saturday night at 8 o'clock. For the duration of this lockdown, and we don't know how long that's going to be. So please send your questions and your topics, and if we choose it, just like we've chosen some questions tonight, we're going to give you guys a TRS commemorative 21-year hat. As soon as we can get out of lockdown, we're going to send it to you. So thank you guys for sending your questions. We super appreciate it. Okay, so final things from you guys. Elysse, anything you want to say?
Guys, since I'm representing Sim Racing Philippines, if you guys want to join us, we have our page. You'll see a lot of details there. We have races that we host, especially in R Factor. So you guys might be interested, and whoever wants to pursue real racing, I think you would like to take my advice to save up the costs. Also,
there you go.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, how about you, Oye?
Hey, same. SRPH's VVTI Cup. You guys got to join that. Anyone, keyboard, whatever. If you don't have the console for this competition, you guys can just have a watch and do whatever. Just join us, please. Everyone's welcome.
Join the discussion.
Join the discussion. Join everything. And
very good. Yeah,
I want to have a shout out to OTR. I like those guys. Those guys are good friends. Gotta love OTR. Kart Bar. The guys from the karting in Carmona.
Yeah.
And then again, SRPH. Thanks, everyone.
Okay, awesome. Mark, anything from your side?
Okay, later on, by 10 p.m., there will be a round 2 of our group 4 in collaboration with Sim Racing Pilipinas. This will be held in Brazil, Interlagos. circuit. Ooh. They will be running 1 hour. So do guys, after the stream, you may go to Koche Kochehan, just add, like, and then this is the fun part because we tried new things this year. We tried to commentate. We tried to do a live stream. The live stream was tested last year, but since it's kind of a bit boring that no one is speaking while we're doing the live stream, we tried to do a newer thing this 2020 since a new year, right? So new year, new experience, 2020, and we tried to make the commentary. And later on, I will do some commentary with Noel, who is the owner of Koche Kochehan. And also those drivers joining the round, the race later on, 10 p.m. Do good luck to them, and also shout out to the Gran Turismo Philippines members.
All right, of them. There you go.
Every year is
increasing. Yeah, every year is increasing.
Great, that's good to hear.
So our lobby is like, wow, there's some increase, and we have to do 2 lobbies.
That's fantastic, bro.
Qualifying, yeah.
That's fantastic. Okay, so with that said, my name is JP Tuason from Tuason Racing. Okay, I want to remind everybody to keep it classy. Okay, enjoy yourself on the racetrack, and of course, be a gracious winner.
Yes, just happy racing, everybody.
Happy racing, good vibes. Peace out. See you.
Stay safe. Bye-bye.
Bye.